Hey everyone, we'll go ahead and kick things off. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Code Kentucky info session. My name is Shannon Sheehy. I'm the operations manager for Code Kentucky. We are again so excited to tell you all a little bit more about our upcoming January session and to answer any questions that you all may have. I will get through a lot in this presentation. If you have questions as we go, please feel free to throw them in the chat. I know we have a couple of our staff members on who may be able to answer. We'll also have plenty of time for questions at the end. So just kind of hang tight and we'll make sure that we get you all the information you need before letting you go today. So I want to give a quick just kind of overview of what Code Kentucky is. We know sometimes it can be a while between you hearing about the program, applying for the program, and then actually getting started. So you might need a little refresher there. But we are a free training program. Currently, we are piloting this program for eligible participants in Eastern and Northern Kentucky. We're actually a spinoff of a program called Code Louisville that's been operating in the Louisville area where I'm located since about 2015. So we have a lot of background, but on the Code Kentucky side, we've actually just been around for a little over a year. We're actually wrapping up our 4th ever session this week. We are a job exploration training program funded by the state of Kentucky. The goal is to get more Kentuckians into tech jobs. So we want to help adults who are looking for new careers, easing that transition. Right now, we're at about 15 of our graduates who've gotten jobs in tech so far, which is fantastic. That's tracking right along with what we usually see numbers-wise. And again, we just want to keep helping people to do that. So our sister program, Code Louisville, again, they've been in operation for a little over 7 years now. They actually are just shy of 800 graduates who've gotten jobs in tech. So it's a proven method, and we're really excited to roll it out to more areas of the state. We'll talk a little bit more in later slides what the program actually looks like and what's going to be expected of you. But it kind of just a very high level, our program consists of weekly evening meetups and then an online curriculum where you're actually going to be learning the information that we're throwing your way. So what you learn is a little bit dependent on your interests and what you would like to take part in. So we switched to this pathways model at the beginning of this year. The reason being is we want people to be able to pursue a more of a deeper dive into a subject matter that they're interested in. Code comes in many forms. It is kind of like spoken languages. There are a lot of different ways to accomplish both the same goals and different goals. You may use one language over another based on what you are trying to achieve as a developer. With our program, you'll be choosing one of the pathways listed on the screen. And with that pathway, you'll complete 2 consecutive 12-week classes. So if you're starting, for example, with our upcoming session, your classes are going to start in January. We'll have 12 weeks of class, wrap up around the end of March, take about a month off, and then you would actually end the program late July, early August time with the completion of that second pathway course. New for this January session, we are going to go ahead and pre-plan the nights of the week for our different pathways. Before, we were kind of basing it off interest and mentor availability, but that sometimes meant that we weren't getting nights out until about a week or so before classes started, which obviously caused some issues. So for the upcoming session, we are going to host Web Development Part 1 on Thursdays, Software Development Part 1 on Tuesday nights, and Data Analysis Part 1 on Wednesday nights. There is a small chance we'd be able to add an additional Part 1 course for some or all of these pathways. If that does happen, we will communicate that information to you. But right now, we're just planning to have these 3 night options. As you're looking at these pathways, we're going to go a little bit more in depth with them in the next few slides to give you some information on why you might pick a certain pathway over another. But I do want to really emphasize there is not a wrong choice. So We have spent a lot of time picking these areas and languages based on what we see that's in demand. So we want to make sure that we're not just training you in something tech related, but that we're training you in something tech related that's a hireable skill in the regions that we're currently serving. So we're confident that all three of these pathways that you see on the screen are hireable, and that we can help you all get through the training. With all of these, they're all growing fields, and they use very similar fundamental principles. So no matter which one you pick, you're going to be learning some really basic programming skills that are going to be useful no matter what you end up doing. So you may, for example, pick web development, but then actually get a job that's more software development related. That happens all the time, definitely not unheard of, because the skills are so transferable there. With all of these pathways and really anything that you're going to be doing in tech or in coding, it's a lot of problem solving and critical thinking. So it's a lot of solving problems with code. So we're also going to help you bulk up some of those problem solving skills to make sure that you can succeed no matter what field you decide to go into. Before we talk a little bit more about the pathways, I just want to give a brief overview of what this process is going to look like. So you will receive an email from us tomorrow, Thursday, that's going to have a form to choose your pathway. That form is going to be due by the end of the day next Wednesday, November 9th. If you want to fill it out sooner, that's great. We would love to have early entries there. We'll also include a recording of this info session in case people weren't able to make it, or if you just need a refresher on something. And we're also going to include a pre-work wiki with resources and a sorting quiz. So that sorting quiz is not science. It is not an end-all be-all by any means, but if you're having trouble choosing which pathway you might want to be in, the sorting quiz can help point you in the right direction. So a little bit about each of these pathways that we have available for you all. The first one that we'll go over is web development. So this is a course that's going to be focused on building not just websites, but the interfaces that go with them. The first 12 weeks are very much focused on front end, which is the look and feel of a website. So if you think about any of your favorite websites, when you go there, what it looks like, how things are arranged, the different dynamic options. So what happens behind the scenes when you click a button or a menu item to make it actually work. The second 12-week session is a deeper dive into JavaScript. So it is more of that behind the scenes stuff. So what makes the website tick, for lack of a better term. Throughout this web development course, you all are going to be focusing on JavaScript. JavaScript is a programming language that's evolved a lot recently, and it's used to build just about everything across the web. So anything interactive, anything that you interact with on a website, like a form, a graphic, a button, is going to be driven by JavaScript. We want to hopefully get you all to, throughout the 12 weeks, get enough skills to be considered a full stack JavaScript developer. So having some experience with both the front end and the back end in this course. The second option or pathway that we have is software development. And just like with any of these pathways, there are a lot of different languages that you can use within software development, but our course specifically at this time is going to be focusing on C#. You may have heard of other languages like Java, for example, or C++, but we're focusing on C# because we've seen a lot of jobs available in our region with C# there. Again, it's something that if you learn it, you'll definitely be able to pick up another language quicker. So it's, even if you don't end up going into C# within software development, it'll be a useful skill to have. With software development, this class is going to focus more on traditional software development, building business applications, creating a computer program that completes a specific task or set of tasks. So when we're thinking about software development or apps that you may create within software development, we're thinking about things like business applications like a Microsoft Word, something more dynamic like Google Maps, browsers even. There are more examples on the screen. But we are really trying to get you to think about things that companies would build software on. So maybe an app that customers log into or apps that you deal with behind the scenes that you may not work directly with if you're part of the public. This course is going to also get into .NET, which is a popular framework to expand on the C# language. And it will be, again, more so in the second 12 weeks that you're getting into the .NET piece. For data analysis, we are focusing on Python for this class. You may have heard of R, which is another language within data, because there are lots of languages within each of these, but Python is going to be our main focus. Within this course, you're going to learn how to take a very huge amount of data. So you might be using spreadsheets or tables and turn it into something useful. And again, in this case, specifically using the Python coding language. Throughout this course, you're going to learn how to generate graphs and charts and reports, and some examples of findings or of types of analysis you might do are on the screen. This has been a really popular class, I think, lately. Data is sort of one of those buzzwords that's been going around. But if it's something you're interested in, definitely recommend checking it out. It is still coding heavy, so it's definitely more of a programming coding type course, but it's something that I think has been really interesting. So as you're thinking about these three pathways, again, we have web, data, and software. We know it's a lot, and especially if you're coming into this pretty blind, like most of our students are, we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with what you're choosing. So again, tonight we're going to send you, or tomorrow rather, we're going to send you a follow-up email. It'll have that sorting quiz that you can go through. It's just kind of a fun thing our training coordinator put together to give you all sort of a nudge in the right direction if you're not sure which pathway to pick. With any of these, we recommend that you do your own research and explore what you might be interested in. And again, I know I mentioned this earlier, but there really is no wrong answer. All of these languages and skill sets are in demand, but you're going to be more likely to succeed if you're interested in the subject matter that fits with your goals. We want to make sure that you're picking something because you're interested in it and that you're going to enjoy it and you're going to have a project you're really excited about, not something that you feel like you should have to do. So a little bit about possible careers. With any of these pathways, they can all lead to a variety of careers, including some of the job titles that are listed on the screen here. All of these listed are some careers that our grads from our sister program, Code Louisville, have gone into. Some of them are interchangeable, and some might be the same title, but completely different in responsibility once you get to a company. We also have a lot of tech adjacent roles that we see. So you might do this 12-week classes, finish up over the summer and decide, you know, I don't know if coding all day, every day is really something I want to do, but maybe I want to be in software sales, or maybe I want to be a customer success manager who works with both the clients and then relaying their needs back to the tech team. We're going to help you out with this. So we have a career coach as well as employer coordinators who are going to work with you throughout the sessions to make sure that you know what it looks like to work in tech. Your mentors are going to give you some advice on what it looks like to work in tech. And one other thing we want to point out is really tech at this point is across every industry, every company. So if you have a background in something like insurance or healthcare, advertising, food, appliances, any of those types of fields might lead to a career down the road, specifically within the tech sphere. The reason that we are so gung-ho on the job stuff and really sharing all of this information with you early on, our success and continued funding relies on job placement. So we are funded again by the Workforce Development Board in Kentucky because they saw that there's a lack of tech talent here and they want to fix that. So again, we're going to offer you a lot of services throughout your 24 weeks with us if you decide to join us in the class to make sure that you're job ready once we get to that point. We get a lot of questions about salary, and quite honestly, I usually kind of shy away from offering a firm number just because it's going to vary a lot. It will vary based on the company that you end up at, the position or role that you pursue, what your past experience is. So if you already have a pretty solid foundation in tech, you might be able to grab a higher salary than someone who's coming in completely blind and just starting out. You also might have some transferable skills that are high in demand. So you might have some communication skills or skills within another area that are going to help set you apart. What we've seen, though, if I did have to throw out a number, these numbers are specific to Louisville because we don't have really enough data yet for the other regions, but we've seen on the Code Louisville side, typically employees starting out about 45 to 50,000 in these tech roles. Again, that can vary a lot. It could be on the lower end, it could be on the higher end, dependent on lots of factors, but that is kind of a rough number of what we've seen. Within tech, though, there's room to grow very quickly. So you may start out as a junior developer, making on the lower end or making maybe in the 30s, for example, but you can move up very quickly. So as long as you are open to learning, open to continuing to up your skill set, you can really grow in tech and get promoted very quickly. Again, I mentioned on the last slide with the job titles, but there are also a lot of tech adjacent roles out there. So you may not go into a strict coding or programming role. You might do something that's more in the realm of tech. One of the great connections that we have is out of the Eastern Kentucky region through Teleworks. Teleworks is a program that mostly is focusing in our purpose, at least, on Eastern Kentucky, but to helping folks there get jobs that are work from home. So a lot of them are within tech support or customer support, work from home jobs, but we work with them to get any that are especially tech support related or at tech companies to share those with you all to help get you started. So we want to make sure, especially when we have folks who are sort of underemployed or maybe don't have a ton of job experience, that we can help get you into a funnel of starting this tech career. So with these classes, what it actually looks like to become a graduate of the program, to actually participate, you are going to be selecting your desired pathway. Again, we're going to send you a form tomorrow that has the options listed out, and that will be due next Wednesday at midnight. Once you fill that out, we will get you a free account to Pluralsight to use through the duration. Pluralsight is a third-party platform that we use. It's very recognized industry-wide, and it's what you're going to be watching your actual curriculum on. We'll use supplemental materials from time to time, so you might have some YouTube videos thrown in there to complete, or things from Free Code Camp, or other resources that we find online, but the majority is going to be through Pluralsight. You'll be added or assigned to a channel in Pluralsight that has your required videos, as well as a Google Classroom that has everything listed out for you in order of what you need to complete. There's a digital skills assessment that we include as well, just to make sure that everyone has some basic tech skills coming in. For those of you who are pretty well versed in digital literacy, it should be a breeze. It might take, honestly, like 10 or so minutes to get through. Otherwise, it should be about an hour at the most. It's just asking some basic questions to make sure that we can kind of level set before you all are actually starting with the hard stuff. This pre-work is going to take, we give you about 3.5 to 4 weeks to complete it. It'll take, though, about 20 to 30 hours. So we want to make sure that you're taking enough time to watch the videos, do the digital literacy piece. There's also a quiz that's going to be added to your classroom closer to the end to test the skills that you've learned and to make sure that you're paying attention during the videos. And we want to give this pre-work because we want to make sure that you know kind of what it's going to look like once you start in the program. So knowing that you have enough time to go through it, that you have an aptitude for it. And we definitely get people who sit through the pre-work, watch the videos and go, you know, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. This isn't really something I'm interested in. And they decide not to participate. That's totally okay. This is exploration. We want to make sure that this is something that you're going to enjoy and that you want to be a part of. So we'll be here to help with that process as well. Once the deadline passes, and I believe it's Sunday, December 4th, but we'll have that spelled out in all our communications we send starting tomorrow. But once that deadline passes, everyone who completes pre-work will be sent details for the January session, including our orientation. The session is going to kick off the week of January 9th with orientation the week before. I believe it's on the 4th. It's a Wednesday. Your class night will be on the night that you chose for your pathway. So again, we have web development would be on Thursdays, software development on Tuesdays, and data analysis on Wednesdays for this upcoming session. Again, the course does consist of 2 consecutive 12-week classes. So we're going to start that week of January 9th, wrap up the very end of March, have about a month off, and then do a second course that's another 12 weeks. Beyond that, there may be an opportunity to take additional classes or to pursue additional pathways. Unfortunately, we can't give a hard and fast answer for that, just because it depends on how many new students we enroll each time around. So the goal would be, after completing your first pathway, so those 2 consecutive 12-week classes, that we're working with you to land a new tech job, that you're meeting with our employer coordinators or August, our career coach, to really get you set on the right path there, and to start launching that new tech career. For the class, so far as access, well, actually, I'll add real quick, within the 2 sessions, so you're going to have a few different requirements. One, of course, is going to be completing the online curriculum. The other is coming to your meetup 1 night a week during those 12 weeks from 6 to 8 p.m. And then we have some other requirements baked in as well. So most of them have to do with job readiness for our level 1 classes, which you all would be in if you decided to participate. There is a job readiness workshop to attend. We have you attend a tech event. We have you do an informational interview with someone who's already in the field. And all of these pieces are going to be done virtually. If there is like an event you find or an informational interview with someone you know that you want to do in person, that's great, but everything can be completed virtually for this class. You do need to have access to a computer. It can be a laptop or a desktop computer, since everything's done from home. And you also need to have reliable internet service. Chromebooks, unfortunately, usually aren't quite enough to participate in the class, but any other basic laptop is fine. You don't need to buy anything special for this program. I know our student coordinators have been sharing out a lot of information, but one of the pieces that's been sent is a supportive services form. We do have some funds allotted to help with purchasing laptops if you have a financial need. So please be sure to fill that out if that applies to you. We'll be reviewing those here in the coming weeks and reaching out to anybody who's eligible for next steps there. I want to wrap up by talking a little bit more about what to expect from the class, and then we'll open it up for questions. So definitely start thinking about any questions you might have, and feel free to throw them into the chat there. But with these classes, so I know I've said the word mentor a few times now. So you're going to be meeting 1 night a week during your 12 weeks with fellow students as well as volunteer mentors. So there will typically be about 25 to 40 students in your class to start, and then anywhere from about 3 to 5 mentors each week, just depending on availability and interest on their side. The mentors are volunteer professionals who are going to help you understand the curriculum, work on projects. They're going to help you with troubleshooting. They'll talk about their own industry experience. They'll share demonstrations. They'll walk you through any particularly tricky topics, but it isn't really a class setting. So all of your actual instruction is going to be done through Pluralsight, through that online platform. And then you'll do these meetups to get more information. So again, you're going to be working through projects together, getting feedback, and asking questions that may or may not have been clear from the videos that you did. Again, everything's virtual right now, so the class sessions take place from 6 to 8 p.m. on your assigned night. There's also the job readiness component that I touched on, so we'll help you with your resumes, we can help with mock interviews, one-on-one coaching, we'll have workshops available, we'll help you with informational interviews and getting you connected to more people in tech. We also usually offer some one-off events, so there might be employer spotlights or hiring events, something that we have started doing, sort of a happy accident with our summer session this last time around. We didn't do Monday classes because there were so many holidays on Mondays that they would have missed about half the session. So instead of doing Monday classes, we have started a Monday guest speaker series. Every Monday rather during the session, as long as it's not a holiday that our team is off, we are hosting a guest speaker. So we have had guest speakers who are former mentors. We've had guest speakers come in to talk about how they broke into tech. We had one recently last week on careers in Salesforce and all different sorts of subjects. So we have some really great supplemental and community pieces that we'll add into the class for you as well. One of the most important pieces of this class, though, is the capstone project you're going to create from what you've learned. So each 12-week class consists of a final project or a capstone project. By the end of the 12 weeks, you're going to turn in a project that's going to be a great piece for your portfolio. So again, some of you may have a little bit of tech experience, but a lot of you do not. This project is going to be really what helps you get hired. Tech is very much a show me industry. When you go into an interview, the hiring manager is going to want to see what you know, not just hear about it. So they're going to want to be able to see that you can put your skills into action and that you don't just know some words that go along with tech. With that, I want to go ahead and open it up for any questions. Feel free to throw them in the chat or to unmute yourself. I will add real quick, just a reminder, we'll do an orientation the week before class starts to really dive into details about the class. So don't worry too much about that right now. But if you have questions about choosing a pathway, we're happy to talk over those. You can also always reach out to our team at info@codekentucky.org. I did see real quick, there is a question in the chat from earlier. So for that web development course, we don't focus on any JavaScript frameworks right now. Our mentors definitely talk about them and it's used as conversation piece, but we just stick to vanilla or basic JavaScript because it's just such a short course with the 12 weeks. Paula, I saw you raise your hand if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Paula. Thanks for this. This is really awesome. My question is, you had mentioned that there was going to be one meeting per week for like mentoring and things like that. Is that something that can be scheduled like to be convenient among the people, among the mentor and the student? Because I already have to change my work schedule in order to get the class that I have and do the further advance notice that I have for other meetings or other required meetings would be awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be on whichever night listed here. So for this upcoming session, web development would be on Thursdays from 6 to 8, software development on Tuesdays from 6 to 8, and data analysis would be on Wednesdays from 6 to 8. So the same night of the week for all those 12 weeks.
Oh, so all that's going to go on at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
So you'd be picking one of these to go into. So you would just be meeting one night a week.
Okay. Thank you for that. That's
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Amal, I see your hand if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself. You're still muted, Amal, but if you want to unmute yourself, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your effort and what you are doing for all of us. I am a beginner. I don't have any background about Java or C or whatever. I have a question. If I want to start with one course or two course at the same time, is that available?
We only allow our new students to do one course at a time, so it is a lot to take in, and we want to make sure we're setting you up for success. So
Okay.
at this point, we would ask that you just pick one of the pathways to pursue. Again, there's no wrong answer. We just want you to pick one that sounds most interesting to you to try out. Once we get to the end of your session, we'll sometimes have people who decide to switch into a new pathway. Ideally, you'll be doing the 2 consecutive classes, but if you get to the end and you're like, this just really wasn't for me, I think I should have done this other one, we can have that conversation at that point. And if we have room, we can usually slot a few people in to a new course if needed.
Okay, thank you. I have
Yeah.
another question. What do you mean by polar site? Polar site? It is the online curriculum will be on plural site. What does that mean? Can you explain it more to me?
Yeah, so the actual learning piece or the curriculum is going to be on Pluralsight, which is a third-party platform. So let me, I can actually show you guys a little bit maybe of what that looks like. So hopefully you can still see my screen. Pluralsight is an online learning platform. There are lots of different resources out there. It's actually used quite a bit for tech companies to upskill their current employees and people who are in tech, but you will be getting assigned to one of these pathways. We'll click on this top one here. This is our web dev pathway. So if you decide to go that route, there's going to be videos for you to watch. They're all listed out on here as well as in the Google Classroom that you're going to be added to. So you'll be going through and watching your videos that are assigned. With the pre-work, we just have them all listed out. We don't break it down by week or anything like that. We just kind of ask that you self-pace. But once we get to the actual course, so once you start in January, we have assignments broken down by week that you would be completing. So you'd be watching the videos. There's interactive courses in there that require some coding along. Sometimes there's guides, or I think this is a good example. There are guides that you can watch, read over as part of it as well. So it's not necessarily something you're watching, but something that you might be reading through. So all of the actual learning will be done through here. And then your meetups that happen every week are more of an informal environment. So it's a lot of question and answer, getting feedback on projects and that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. Had something from Lana in here. Let me read this real quick. It really depends. So within tech, there are lots of different, I guess I would say, fields or branches. And it depends for all kinds of requirements what they're looking for. So criminal history does not necessarily preclude someone from being in the program or as well as getting a job in tech. One of the questions that comes up a lot too is having a college degree. It's not necessary all the time. Some companies still have that requirement in place. Some have admitted when we've met with them that they have to put it as a requirement on their job descriptions, but that it's something that's more of a checkbox for HR. If they can find somebody who has the experience or has the portfolio to show, they're usually open to hiring that person. I will say most of the jobs that we've seen are pretty hard fast on having a requirement for a high school diploma or at least a GED. But otherwise, any sort of college experience that you may have is kind of just a bonus. We get people from all over the board in terms of past education that they have. So it's something that we've definitely seen all areas of. Question from Joshua: upon completion, will there be any kind of official certification? So there really aren't any industry-wide recognized certifications for any of these pathways. We will give you a PDF certificate that you'll have. The piece that's going to speak most, though, is your project. So we really have seen with employers, and again, we're still very new on the Code Kentucky side, but we've had years of experience now on the Code Louisville side. By and large, we've seen that employers don't typically care that much about any sort of certification unless it's for something that requires it. So if you're in networking, or I know Salesforce has a lot of certifications, that sort of thing. But within these pathways that we're teaching, they mostly want to see those projects. You got it. All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap up. As a reminder, this will be sent to you as a recording at the end of this, so that we will make sure that you get any questions answered. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll be following up tomorrow, though, with next steps and getting you the information that you need. I do want to thank Jared Mueller, who's our student coordinator on the Northern Kentucky side, for being on today and helping out. Jared, do you want to say hi or add anything I might have missed?
No, I'm the student community coordinator for Northern Kentucky. I'm here to help you get enrolled, help you, overcome any barriers that you might face while you're in the program. Very connected to the nonprofit sector in Northern Kentucky. So there's probably a resource that we can get you connected to help overcome that barrier. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions about the program, about resources, things like that.
Thanks, Jared. And we do have a dedicated Eastern Kentucky student coordinator. She's out for a few weeks, but she will be back in plenty of time for you all getting started in January. So you'll get to meet her at that time as well. Her name is Dottie. I did see one other question was thrown in the chat. What other skills are necessary or helpful? With anything like this, I think the biggest thing is just being interested in learning and having that open mindset. As adults, I know a lot of us are quite a bit probably away from any sort of formal education. So the last time I was in a formal education setting was about a solid decade ago. And it can be hard to get back in the swing of things. So we want to make sure that you all are open to learning, that you're open to kind of challenging yourselves in a field that, quite frankly, is pretty hard. It's something that we believe we can help you all do, but it's not going to be an easy journey. We want to make sure that you're prepared and know that. Some other skills, though, so our career coach is really great, and he's going to do workshops and resume reviews with you where he helps go over any sort of transferable skills that you might have. So if you have a communications background, that might help you stand out from the crowd, because a lot of people who follow traditional pathways in tech maybe aren't the best communicators. Problem solving is a huge one, being able to find answers. We always kind of joke, it's not really a joke though, but that a developer, a good developer is a good Googler. You're going to spend a ton of time searching for answers, whether it's on Google or Stack Overflow or other sites, and your mentors are going to help you with that. Quite honestly, some of the best mentors that we've had are folks who are pretty new to the field themselves, because they know exactly what it's like to be in your seat. They just learned it themselves, and they're very eager to give back. So we have a lot of people in place to help make sure that we get you in the right direction. Bonnie, I just saw your hand go up. If you would like to ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Just one question I had related to the pathways. I recall registering that there were some additional pathways like Salesforce administration, as well as cloud infrastructure like AWS. Are those offered at certain points in the year, and when are those typically offered?
Sure. So right now we're just sticking with these 3 pathways, but there may be a point in the future where we open it up to more. We are actually piloting a Salesforce administrator class this fall that's wrapping up in another week or two. Once we are able to gauge the success of that, so we want to see that people are both passing the exam and then getting hired in Salesforce. We're going to revisit it and potentially host another course in the future, but we don't have any immediate plans for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Oh, August, I did not know you were on. I apologize. I'm still getting used to, we usually use Zoom for these. It's a little easier to navigate, but if you want to add anything, feel free. August is our awesome career coach.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I got on here a little bit late. I got kind of distracted trying to find remote positions for folks. So I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, I am going to be your technical career coach. So I'm going to be assisting you with things, as Shannon said, like resumes. We'll do some workshops together. Just some basic virtual interviewing type stuff, because yes, the goal is to try to assist you with getting remote work. So I look forward to working with all you all. Please reach out to me anytime. I'm always around. And you'll probably hear from me when you very first start the class anyway. So
make sure to bug you early and often with all of our reminders and asking you to let us help you, because we really want to do that. It's been awesome to see people succeed so far, and we're excited to have more people added in. So Jared threw this in the chat, but as a reminder, and it's on the screen, feel free to email info@codekentucky.org with any questions. If you don't see an email from us by Friday with the pathway selection form, also reach out to us at that info@codekentucky.org address. Unfortunately, a lot of our emails seem to go to spam or junk boxes, so check those first to see if the email might be there, and then reach out so that we can help. Again, we want to thank you all so much for your interest in our program and for being here today. We're excited to get started with you all. Please feel free to reach out with any other questions, and we look forward to hopefully seeing a lot of you in January. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.